Hi, this is Wes Fryer. It is December the 17th, 2017, and this is my sermon sketchnote on a message shared by Eric Lawrence at First Presbyterian Church in Edmond, Oklahoma, about Luke 19, 1 through 10. First, we talked a little bit, or actually Dave Moore, our administrative head, talked to us a little bit about stewardship and how God does not ask for equal gifts, he asks for equal sacrifices. And of course, that transitioned really well into the sermon, which was focusing on investment in people. And that is one of our sort of fundamental principles as a congregation. And Eric challenged us to think about who invested in us, why we were sitting there in the sanctuary that moment, listening to the sermon at this point in our lives. And when he ended up wrapping up the sermon, who showed you Jesus, part of what he encouraged us to think about was, we need to be investing in others so that we, might come to mind when they answer that question, months, years, or whatever from now. So investing in other people is a job for all of us. It was something that Jesus was very serious about, that he did throughout his life, that we read about repeatedly in the Gospels. And so it's not something that we just relegate to the paid staff of the church or to missionaries or, just to certain people. It's the call for all of us to follow Jesus and to invest in each other. And so the story of Jesus investing in Zacchaeus brought a lot of things. And Eric talked about those in the sermon message. And one of those was hope, right? Hope that no one is too far gone. No one has, done things, sinned to the extent that they could not find reconciliation with God. Eric told the story of his grandfather who actually came to know Jesus at the age of 93. And I think he said passed away at 95 and was filled with, his life was filled with stories and with all kinds of things, but it's never too late for anyone, and who knows who we might end up being able to share Christ with. And Eric reminded us that Christ came for the sick. I love this statement: people are not projects. We invest to love and cherish others, not to change them. And so that's a really important thing to keep in mind, that our focus is to live out lives that reflect Jesus and represent our following him, not just in word, but in deed. And that cherishing and loving others should really be our focus. And the change, comes from the Holy Spirit, and it comes from God. It doesn't come from us. We are called to be loving others and cherishing them and serving them. And actually, let's just jump over here to this bless acrostic that Eric kind of concluded with, BLESS. B, begin with prayer. L, learn from the stories of other people, and listening is what I'm thinking of there for the L. E is eat a meal. That really resonates as far as breaking bread. We've had a wonderful opportunity to be with a small group in our church this last year. We just last night had, I think, our third gathering together, breaking bread, eating a meal together, praying with each other, having fellowship, serving others. So that's the first S. And then the last S is to share who you are. Did I misspell that? I think I did. No, I guess my A is just not a very great A. I think I spelled it right. Where has Jesus changed your story? And of course, this makes me think a lot of the Pocket Share Jesus book, which I am on the cusp of finishing and need to get complete and finish up. So the story of Zacchaeus and Jesus who proclaims, "I need to stay in your house today, Zacchaeus." People were not happy with that. But Jesus didn't come to make the crowds happy. Jesus came to do the will of his Father and to teach us how we should live. And so one of the books that Eric mentioned was called The Art of Neighboring. And again, that book, like the sermon, I think, gives us encouragement to be good neighbors to those around us, to serve those that are around us, and as we were encouraged with the bless acrostic, to be in prayer, to be listening and learning stories, to be breaking bread, to be serving and sharing others. These are the things that God calls us to do in Luke 19, verses 1 through 10. Thanks to Eric Lavrance and all those in the worship team at First Presbyterian Church for making it possible to hear this wonderful sermon message today in mid-December 2017.